So, Pastor Josh wanted us to come up here and talk about, y'all can sit down. Pastor Josh wanted us to come up here and talk from the vantage point of I'm different, right? And when he told me that, I'm like, nothing defines my life and my college experience than those two words, more than those two words. I'm different. He told us to speak from this verse, 2 Corinthians 6:17. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Right? So like you said, I'm different. So I graduated high school class of 2017, Southeast Raleigh. Feel me? When I graduated high school, of course, it was a predominantly black school. Like, you want to take HBCU and put it in a high school, that's Southeast, right? So, we graduate, a lot of my fellow classmates, they went off to like Winston-Salem, A&T Central, UNCG, ECU, all those different types of schools, right? For some unknown reason at the time, I get shuffled up to Concord University in Athens, West Virginia. One stoplight town, bunch of old folk live up there. You blink, I promise you'll drive right through it. That town is really small and it's crazy. But that's where I end up. Completely different environment, completely different types of people. And my first semester, based off of that, my first semester was filled with a whole lot of why questions. I'm over here like, why am I all the way up here? Why did I have to come and play football here? Why am I in West Virginia? I get taken, Raleigh's not a big city, but it's way bigger than Athens, West Virginia. Why did I get shuffled all the way up there? I just didn't understand. At the time I didn't know that I was in for the ride of my life. And those next 4 years, God was going to answer every single last one of those questions. And that he did, right? So as time went on, I went through a lot of changes throughout my undergrad. I'm completely different than what I was when I first left. And I couldn't really fit all those changes in this, small little time frame that I got. But it can just sum it up in this one little phrase that God, he molded me into the man that he wanted me to be. Well, he's continuing to mold me. I ain't like some of y'all men out here, you know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to reach y'all level. I see y'all got the suits on, wife, kids, all of that. I ain't up there, but I'm getting there. But he molded me into something different. You know what I'm saying? That I never saw myself speaking in front of people, especially about God. I was like, I'm gonna just keep my faith to myself and this, that, and the third. And God said otherwise. He said, no, you need to go out there, you need to talk. So, that's just one little change. But there was many more that came after that. The scripture, it said, touch not any unclean thing, right? As y'all know, college is full of unclean things. I'm not going to sit up here in front. I don't front for nobody. I don't really care what anybody got to say about me, because the only person who matters is God. Y'all can say whatever y'all want. Y'all all did stuff too. I did stuff that I probably shouldn't take part in. I was really hesitant about saying that with my mama sitting right in front of me, but you know what? I'm grown. If she want to beat me, whatever. It is what it is. I'm grown. But I did some things that I shouldn't have done. I'm not going to front like I didn't. Of course I did. But the thing about it is, when I did those things and I took part in them things, when I kind of grew up and I started to look back over my childhood, I realized I've always been that way. I've always been the one to do things just to fit in. I've always been the one to do things so I don't, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't get made fun of. I would get made fun of a lot when I wouldn't partake in things that other kids was doing. But then when I would do it, I would soon realize that stuff really isn't me. That's not who I am. So I just look stupid. So I kind of look back on it, but I realized, I've always been different. But it took me a long time to realize that being different is okay. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with being different. Back in the day, the disciples, they were different. That's why, there was 12 of them. Only 11 of them was true. They following after Christ. They were all different. That was seen as really different at the time. So, like I said, being different, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Because I look at the apostles, look at the different people who had an input in writing the Bible. They were all set apart. And now they're dwelling with God forever. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing's wrong with being different. But see, I even had, when I did graduate, I even had some of my friends that I grew up with in the neighborhood that I would be outside all day with. And they would come up to me and they would tell me, they would hit me up on Instagram or whatever, and they would tell me, look, man, I always saw you as being the one to go off and play college sports and to graduate. Out of all of us, we knew you was going to be the one to do it. You was going to be the one to say what you say, do what you say you're about. And I was just like, wow, like I was standing out from that age. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's crazy. So then that's when I kind of start getting my answer as to why I was thrown in West Virginia. People were looking at me. People were always looking at me. And it shows every time I come back here, them young kids at the high schools and whatnot, they coming up to me consistently asking me for advice on what to do next. You know? God has a plan and a reason for everything that he's going to do. What's next? See, throughout college, I was broken down a lot, right? But God has sent through a whole lot of people to come through and kind of help guide me through that process. You know, when I first went up there, I didn't go to church. My excuse was that I didn't have a car, but I could have easily asked somebody, and I never did. For my first semester, for a while, I didn't. But then I started, stuff was wrong. Like, I didn't enjoy anything. I didn't like the area, didn't really have many, friends. I had people I was cool with, of course, but I wasn't really considering them friends at that time. And then I was hating football. I dreaded going to practice every day. College football is a lot. But I dreaded going to practice every day. I dreaded going to live. I just couldn't. When I woke up, the only thing I was thinking about was getting back to my room and going to sleep. I hated it. So I was like, you know what? I need to do something. Because I realized I left God in North Carolina when I went. So I started looking. I'm like, we got an FCA on campus. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go. So I went to the FCA. And one of my teammates at the time, he was a senior. He was up there leading it. And we still close to this day. And he was from Maryland, black dude from Maryland. And he kind of just showed me that, you know what, you can serve God. Everybody loved him too. He was a great football player, everything. And he just kind of showed me, there's nothing wrong with following after God in college. You can still be cool and do that. Because that's one thing I was always obsessed with when I was a kid, was being cool. It's like, you can still be cool, be you, serve God. There's nothing wrong with that. So it kind of spoke to me. And through FCA, I was brought a whole lot of different people from different backgrounds and whatnot, kind of helped show me the way and guide me through and struggle together. Because as you know, your college friends that you struggle with, that's your crew, that's your main ones. You know what I mean? And when I kind of started to focus more on what God, kind of started to focus more on God when I was up there during that time. And that's when things started changing for me. I get a starting spot in football, later down the road, right? And with that being said, now what I'm about to say, I'm not saying this to brag on myself. I'm saying that I'm getting to a point. But, I'm starting linebacker, all conference, leading in tackles, double-digit tackle games. I'm out here just balling. Interviews, everything, people asking me stuff. I'm just like, man, I feel like a superstar, low-key. But it just kind of showed me that when you kind of put down all the extra nonsense that you really ain't got no business doing and whatnot, God's going to bless you. I'm not sitting here telling you, I'm not going to look at you and tell you. God is not like a stepping stone to get where you want to be. That's not God is. Ultimately, it's about, changing your mind, repenting of your sins. You know what I'm saying? But when you do follow God's will, there's perks that come along with that. He ain't got no problem blessing his children. Feel me? There's rewards that come along with that. So, but not even just with football, I start focusing more on God. And I begin to form these authentic friendships, these authentic connections that I get with people that I'm going to have for life. The friends that I made up there, high school with me, if we went to high school together, probably wouldn't have much to do with them. Probably would have been cool, but I wouldn't be as tight with them as I am now. I consider them my brothers. They're going to be in my wedding. Those are my dogs. You know what I mean? That's what God brought me. Through that, and also too, like I said, I hated the area when I was up there. But when I started kind of just kind of letting that go and stop focusing on what I hate and this, that, and the third, I grew a love for it. And I love West Virginia. It's cool. It's peaceful. It's not what everybody thinks. There isn't Confederate flags on every corner. It's a normal place. It's just like anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? I love West Virginia. I love being up there. I'm contemplating staying there for a little bit. It was different, but I loved it, every bit of it. So, I really couldn't complain. And what's it called? You see, I'm going to tell this story real quick. I remember my freshman year, I showed up August 5th, 2017. That's when I showed up for camp. That was a Saturday. I called my mama on a Wednesday, And I told her, I don't know if I can do this. Like I said, I hated every bit of it. And she told me, Dwayne, I didn't raise a punk. You're not quitting, and that's that. And I remember being so mad at her. I don't know. Because I knew, because it's not only what she said, I could just, like, even though we were on the phone, like, my mama has this face. She has this look that she gonna give you where it's like, dude, get out of my face. And I could just tell she was making that face when she said, you're not quitting. And it was just like, when she makes that face, it's a wrap. She's not gonna get what you want. So I was just like, you know, whatever. I guess I do gotta tough this whole thing out. And I'm so glad that she did that. Because I came to realize that, man, you know, when God says he knows what he's doing, he means that. And I'm pretty sure that every last one of y'all up in here can attest to that. And if you can't, one day you will. He knows exactly what he's doing. You know, I go back and I look over my college experience. I feel like I was talking to that room. That's how I come over here and talk to this side. Yo, I go back up there and, you know, I think about my college experience and I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, if I could go back and talk to 2017 Dwayne, if you could go back, some of y'all remember 2017 Dwayne, you know? You could go back and talk to him and you ask him what his college experience would be like, what's he expecting, and what it actually turned out to be, it was two totally different things. You know, mindset was all jacked up now that I look back on it, and God had to get me straight. But if I could go back and I could talk to 2017 Dwayne myself as 2021 Dwayne, I would look at him and tell him, like, look, man, it's going to be different, and it's going to be hard. But go up there and do what you got to do, and just trust God. Lean on God and let him guide you every step. I promise you, you will not regret it. I couldn't imagine where I'd be if I quit. I couldn't imagine where I'd be. I couldn't imagine where I'd be if I just didn't care, if I did the things that I want to do, if I never went to that FCA that one night. I couldn't imagine where I'd be. I'm so glad I did. You know, and to any graduate that's sitting out here, Ramses, I know you just graduated, Kashar, we was just talking, to all of y'all up in here, trust me when I say it is much better God's way. This is coming from somebody, you know, when I was in high school, I'm pretty sure some of y'all remember me. I mean, yeah, I was up in here, but was I really in here? Nah. I promise you, bro, God got your back, man. That's to my high school graduates that just left. College graduates, I ain't got much to say to y'all because I'm still learning. We're going to rock this boat together, though. That's what I know. But one thing I can say to y'all is I tried it without God before. I ain't doing that again. Because, you know, throughout my entire life, you know, I didn't really have in the household a male figure like that. I'm my pops, grandparents, none of that. Nope, I ain't have none of that. All I had really was a bunch of people that kind of showed me. Now I had some people out here, don't get me wrong. If you one of the dudes that poured into my life in here, I'm not discrediting you. I promise you I'm not. Thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. But I didn't have anybody that consistent guidance every single day, day in and day out. I didn't have that. All I ever had was a bunch of people that I didn't want to be like. I didn't want to be 40 years old in a barbershop talking about what I shoulda, coulda, woulda done with 3 baby mamas and child support out the wall. I'm not paying $1,000 in child support. You gotta be bent. I'm just not doing it. I didn't want that life. You know what I'm saying? I started looking at what I didn't want, and I found out what I did want. You feel me? And I feel like I'm on that track to getting it. Or may not look like what I think it's gonna look like, but I know, like I said, God got me. Feel me? So, one last verse that I kind of want to leave y'all with, or one last statement and verse, you know what I'm saying? Life, bro, you're not going to be 100%. Like I said, in college, I did some things I probably shouldn't have. We're going to continue to do things that we shouldn't do. It was never about you being 100%. That's the whole reason why Jesus came. If you could be 100% under your own power and ability, he would have never came. He'd have been like, figure it out. But he came because he knew that you couldn't be 100%. Don't think about that. What he's asking you for is constant pursuit. You feel me? Proverbs 20:21-21, it says, he that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, righteousness, and honor. Like I said, don't use God as a stepping stone. People do that. That's not what God is. He's more than that. But at the same time, when you do obey his will, you follow after what he said, When he tells you to do something and you heed to it, do it. I promise you it's going to yield a better result. Don't wait and do it, because you're going to realize that you shouldn't have waited. You can go through a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't have to go through because you was hard-headed. Just go and do it. I promise you I resisted going up to West Virginia so hard. I wanted to stay here so bad. I'm so glad I didn't, for a few reasons. Number one, the teams that I was going to go to down here, terrible. Probably wasn't going to start in those places. Number two, I never would have grown. I'm so glad I went. My graduates out there, time for y'all to grow. Any kid, matter of fact, any kid out here, man, there's nothing wrong with being different. Got made fun of a lot for being different. And there's nothing wrong with being different. Because while everybody else is doing the same things and they stuck in a hamster wheel, hamsters be running so fast, they'll be going nowhere. Going nowhere fast for no reason. You don't want to be like that. Go ahead and take your path that God designed for you and go make the most of it. Because those same people that's going to make fun of you for being different are going to be looking at you and wondering how you did it. But that's when you take the time, hold on, bro, but don't take that time to rub it in nobody's face. Take that time and that opportunity to show them what God has done for you, and you help them get where they need to be through God. That's what it's for. So that's all I got to say. It's okay to be different. God said we were set apart for a reason, so go be set apart.
Get started. Pastor Josh wanted us to talk about the topic, I'm different, as you heard from Dwain, from 2 Corinthians 6 and 17. I'm going to read it again if that's okay with you guys. From the NIV it says, therefore, come out from them and be separate, says the Lord. Touch no unclean thing, and I will receive you. I also read it again from Isaiah 52 and 11, just to get a little different. It said, depart, and go out from there. Touch no unclean thing. Come out from it and be pure. You who carry the articles of the Lord's house. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When Pastor Josh asked me, he called me. He said, hey, man, you home? I said, yes, sir. He said, congratulations on graduating, man. I said, thank you. He said, I want you to speak at the church. I said, He said, nah, man, you'll be fine. Trust me. I said, I understand that, I'm not really that nervous. I've been in college. You know that, right? He said, yeah, I know. That's the reason I'm calling you. I said, well, what do you want me to talk about? I don't really understand. I couldn't recognize what I had to offer to come in on a Sunday and give to other people. And he said, just read it. He talked me through some things, and we automatically, obviously we worked through it. I'm here today, but the biggest thing that I got from that conversation that day with him was, sometimes you can have something right in front of your face and you don't recognize it. I used an analogy earlier, with all the masks and stuff like that. I was at the grocery store and I thought I saw somebody that I recognized, and I don't know if anybody else been in that situation. And you might wave and you don't really know it's them for sure. So you wave and you look kind of silly waving, especially if it's not the person you thought it was. But sometimes to play it safe, I like to play it safe now after that. I got to get a little bit closer to what I was looking at and what my goal was, so that way I can recognize it. So my first point is recognizing your difference. The first time I recognized that I was different, I guess where I was actually able to understand and process the fact of what actually being different was my freshman year of college. I went to school at the University of Northern Colorado. So when Dwain talks about having to go out far and being different, now I definitely felt that to a T. All of my friends went to Central and NC State and A&T and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I'm out there. I'm in Colorado. It's my freshman year. I'm with the freshmen, all the guys on the football team that came in together. We're sitting down. We're about to eat dinner. We're in an intense conversation right now. I remember it so vivid. We're arguing about what state puts out better athletes. And I'm riding for North Carolina now. I'm trying to explain to them we're not just a basketball state. We do it all. We got football, baseball. We got everything. We got athletes out here. So my friend from Cali, he's intense too, and we're almost yelling at this point. And we get ready to sit down. I have my food, and I don't really say anything. I didn't give him a warning. I just stopped talking. I bowed my head, and I said my grace. And I didn't really think anything of it. This is common. This is what we do. This is how you were raised. And I lifted my head up and opened my eyes, and he was looking at me like astonished almost, in disbelief, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you really just stopped the conversation for that? I said, yeah, bro. I had to pray over what I was about to receive, man. I don't think you understand. He said, yeah, that's something right there, but that's different. Like, I won't lie. Like, you're different. Didn't recognize it then. Didn't recognize it. Moved straight past it like it had a mask on. But looking back over it a couple of days ago, I said, wow, like, that was my first time understanding and recognizing my difference. So, like I said, my first point is I want you to be able to recognize your difference. So the first thing I wanted to do was to look up what exactly does different mean? What is the definition? It says, not the same as another or each other, unlike in nature, form, or quality, also meaning distinct. I like the word distinct, so I went further and I looked up what distinct mean. Surprisingly enough, the definition of distinct is recognizably different. I thought to myself, I said, okay, I'm going up here in church. How do I comprehend and show everyone and explain to everyone how I'm different, the ways that I've learned in my struggle and my journey, how I'm different. So for me personally, I'll say the first thing was, even when I was out, and I'm not going to say I was doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing, but you know, you were out, you're running around, you with your friends, you're young. Everybody remember what it's like to be young, correct? No? All right, we're going to act holy. That's cool. That's all I understand. We can play that game. All right, so for my people that do remember what it was like to be young, I'm out, I'm with my friends, and I don't know, sometimes I can get a feeling in my stomach, and I'm like, nah, this don't feel right. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I don't know about the vibes in this one. So I would be that friend. All right, we're going to go out. We're going to still go. I'll ride, but I'm going to pray for us. I'll make sure we good, we covered, right? Didn't think anything of it. I kept going. I thought about my life. I thought about, all right, why am I dealing with traumatic events? Why am I having so much death close to me? I'm like, at one point, I got to the point where I'm like, God, are you punishing me? Like, what's going on? Why do the people that I look up to the most or that I build relationships with, why do they leave? Why does this happen to me? Why am I suffering? Why do I have to deal with grievance and things of that nature? And I realized that what makes you different is the stuff that you go through. Sometimes you go through things because the person next to you or across from you couldn't handle what you're going through. And I know that people say God gives the toughest battles to the toughest soldiers and things of that nature. And that's a lot easier said than being that tough soldier. But I came to let you know from my personal experience that when you are going through things like that, it's okay to be different. It's okay to go through things. There's a reason that you're going through things. You know, your path might be a little different. Your journey might be a little different. So I thought about that. I said, okay, that's cool with life, but what about football? I love football. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing since what? Dwayne, we were how old? 5, 6 years old, man? So it's crazy. Me and Dwayne used to have stories like talking about it in like the 5th grade, 6th grade. Dwayne wanted to be a WWE player, WWE wrestler / NFL player. You know what I mean? He was going to do it big. I wanted to go to the NFL. We were both talking about it, and now, thank God, glory to God, but we got to live out our dreams. So getting back to football, I graduated from the University of Northern Colorado. I still have 2 more years. I thought that I was going to go. I got accepted into the master's program at the University of Northern Colorado. I thought I was going to go there to finish my last 2 years. Thank you. All glory to God. But it turns out, boom, I'm not going there anymore, and I'm transferring. So now I'm in a whirlwind. I'm like, okay, am I going to play football again? Where am I going to play football again? God, is this what you have for me? God, if this is what you have for me, why isn't it going the way that I thought it was going to go? Why isn't it going the way that I wanted it to go? Why isn't it going the way that we planned it to go, right? Because we planned this. Is this what I was supposed to go, right? I realized that sometimes God will force us to almost let go of our ego or our idea of what our life is supposed to be, what we're supposed to have, when we're supposed to have it, and bring it to you when you need it and when you're ready for it. So long story short, I was going through the transfer portal, and for those who don't know what that is, it's like a free agent. It's like having no job for football, if that makes sense. Like the NFL, but it's for college. You know what I mean? So imagine having no job. You just got laid off. You got no job. You waiting on jobs to call you. You bouncing back and forth week to week waiting on the job, and the one that you want is not coming, if that makes sense. So anyways, I got through that point. I got through that phase. I ended up committing to Winston-Salem State. I'm going to get my master's in business marketing, so go Rams. But my biggest struggle, my biggest thing that I realized and my own journey from that path of realizing that I was different was when I tried to look at other people's paths. So I would compare myself to, okay, he's moving faster. He's in the fast lane. Okay, he may not be in the fast lane, but he's moving faster than me too. They're getting closer to where they want to be, faster than me. And why is that? So I realized that, anybody ever drove on the highway? Y'all drove on the highway? Everybody drive, right? All right, so you're driving on the highway, you looking in your mirrors. How long you look at that left mirror? About 2 seconds, right? Real quick glance, because if you stare too long over there, you might swerve to the left. And I realized that if I stared too much to the right, that I might swerve to the right. And if I looked up in my mirror, my rearview mirror from my past too long, that I couldn't see what was coming ahead of me. So the main thing that I learned was to focus on my own journey, because I am different. My journey is unique. I can't focus on anybody else for the side of me. I can't focus on anybody else to the left of me. I can't focus on that if I'm trying to get exactly where I want to be. So my first point, recognizing your difference. Now, once you recognize it, it gets a little bit harder, because the verse says to separate. I call this coming out. So recognize, then separate. I looked up the definition of separate. It says to form a distinction or a boundary between people, places, or things. To form a distinction or boundary between people, places, or things. So I looked up, I said, what is a boundary? What are you forming? What do you want me to form? It says a line that marks limits of an area or a dividing line. I read that again. I'm like, all right, what am I going to say? I realized that when you're trying to get where everybody else isn't trying to get, you can't do what everybody else is doing. And for me, I had to learn that the hard way. I don't know about somebody. I had to learn that a little bit harder than everybody. So I realized I'm going to take the football route again, and I'm going to get back to life. But with football, I realized that, okay, I'm here. I reached one goal of mine of being at an institution of where I would like to be. Okay, that's check. Am I on the field as much as I want to be? Am I getting the playing time that I feel I deserve? Am I growing as a player as much as I did? So I say, okay, if I'm not reaching that, if I'm not reaching where I want to be, what do I change? How do I separate myself from the pack? The boys will go out. We will have practice in the mornings, so we have the evenings off. Our Wednesdays were our like break days. We would just have a lift, so no practice. So on a Tuesday night, all the boys would go out. We would go hang, whatever, do that. When I reached that point of realizing that I wanted to elevate and I wanted to separate myself, one of my roommates asked me, hey, man, we're about to go out. Do you want to go out? Nah, man, I can't tonight. I got to stretch. I got to study the playbook a little bit more. We got practice tomorrow morning. Nah, man, we don't have practice. Well, I have practice tomorrow morning, bro. I got to get myself right a little bit more. All right, well, we're going out this weekend. You should come with us this weekend when we get home from our trip. Okay, we got home on Saturday night from a game. Typically, we'll go out. Nah, I can't do it this weekend, man. I got to watch some more film to make sure I'm trying to get where I'm got to get. But basically, what I'm saying is sometimes you got to take the extra step that other people aren't willing to take to get where you want to be. So I'm gonna bring it to life. I'm going to bring it to life. Separating yourself. I admit it, I'm not perfect. Dwain admitted he's not perfect. We all went to college. I don't know if y'all going to, hey, everybody been saved and holier than thou for forever now, so I understand, but I admit myself that I'm not perfect. I realized that you didn't have to be perfect for God to. I say, okay, but God, I've done things before. Okay, I forgive you. God, I forgive you. Come as you are. God, I'm not dressed in my Sunday. Come as you are. Come as you are. I realized that even though I wasn't perfect, I was still unique. I was still different. I was still wanted to separate myself. So I say, all right, I realized that. I know where I want to be again. How do I get there? It's a whole bunch of unclean things in college. It's a whole lot of ways to get tempted. So I had to start cheating the game. I say, if I know that I'm going to be tempted by that, I'm not even going to show up. If I know that there's going to be something there that it might be my weakness, why would I put myself in that vulnerable spot? I said earlier, I said, my strengths became knowing my weaknesses. So I could avoid the situations that would get me back to where I was trying to come from. Come on, man. I said, I could still hang out. Don't get me wrong. I could still hang out. I could still be with my friends, and we could go have a good time. But some of the stuff that I used to be able to do, because people go, hey, man, you remember in high school you used to, or nah, in college back in the day you used to. It's hard to tell people, nah, I don't do that no more. Nah, I'm a little bit different. Separating yourself. So once I realized all of this, I recognized my difference. I learned how to separate myself to show that I was different. The hard part came, and that was walking in my difference. My last point. So the end of verse 17, it says, touch no unclean thing, and I will receive you. So what does that mean, you'll receive me? Verse 18 says, I will be a father to you, and you will be my sons and my daughters. This is coming from God. I realized that comfortable state of, what I did in high school and what I did in college, I got accustomed to it. I got comfortable. Because it's cool to try something new. Okay, I'm starting a new life today. I'm going to do something different. But in a couple weeks, is it still exciting like that? Is it in a couple months, is it still exciting like that? It's easy to go back to what's comfortable. So I had to reverse my brain in the way that I thought. I had to learn how to be comfortable in my difference. I had to learn how to be comfortable saying, no, I'm different. Nah, I can't do that. I'm different. I had to learn how to be comfortable letting my friends know, we still cool, but I'm just a little bit different. My journey's a little bit different. My path is a little bit different. So I don't want to stand up here all day. I want to end with a story. St. Luke, there were 10 men who were sick, and they had leprosy. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a terrible skin condition, terrible disease. It's back in the day when Jesus is around and is walking through. I want to say they were by Galilee and Samaria. I can't remember the story off the top of my head to a T, but anyways, Jesus is walking through, and imagine these men are where those doors are, and they see Jesus, and they're crying out, God, please help us. God, please save me. God, please heal us. And he recognized them, and he said, go into the priest and walk there and figure out what is wrong with you. And as they walked away, the Bible says that they were immediately healed. It's crazy. Terrible disease is gone, leech is gone, everything on their skin was gone. And the one thing that stuck out to me the most was out of 10 people, 10 sick men, only one came back to say thank you. Only one came back to say, God, I thank you. I recognize where I was, and I just want to say thank you for helping me. I understand that my friends didn't come back. Yes, there was 10 of us. Yeah, I know you asked where the rest of them are, but I'm a little bit different. I had to come back and say thank you for myself. I'm different. I had to separate myself. So I said all of this to say today, learn how to be okay being different. Because I'm thankful that I'm different. I'm thankful that I'm the one that can pray for my friends. I'm thankful that I'm the one in the group that can help talk about God. I'm thankful that I'm different. I'm thankful that my path is a little bit tougher. I'm thankful that I'm different. So all in all, I want you to recognize your difference. Separate and walk in your difference. Thank you.